Hi, I'm Joe Scacciaferro, and this is On Location. All right, my next guest manages what I think is one of the most challenging parts of our industry. You have to have a strong instinct about people. You have to understand technology. You have to handle corporate clients who are always under pressure and always freaking out. And then you constantly have to be reacting to change. And our industry never stops changing. So you're always moving. And on top of all of that, she's probably one of the nicest people I have ever met in this industry and outside of it. How she does it, no idea. Maybe we'll find out. Welcome, Heather Barkley.
Awesome. Oh, thank you, Joe. That was such a nice intro. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me
See,
on this.
I told you. Nice person, right?
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. You lead right into it because I always feel like our job is problem solving always, right? So
it is.
Yeah, it's just constantly.
Ferro Production touches on that aspect of crewing. And since the beginning, and I've owned a lot of things where I had to deal with humans under my employ. And all I ever said is, I can't wait to the day, and maybe it's coming, I can't wait to the day when it's just robots.
Yeah.
And I don't have to deal with human emotion.
It is. I think it's definitely the biggest challenge. It always is the people piece of it, and managing that is 100% the biggest. It's just, if all I have to do is order the equipment and make sure that I have platforms where they need to be, it'd be a different ballgame. But no, when you add the level of just all different personalities, exactly, it makes it the biggest challenge for sure. But nothing is boring, right? It's never boring.
Oh, no, never, ever boring. Let's dive into a little bit. Common Logic. Talk a little bit about what you do now and where it evolved up from.
Yeah, sure. My dad, Dave Shaw, as you know, has been in the industry for a long time. He started it in 2008, the company, consulting firm within the television space, predominantly sports television, but he's actually done other projects too with space, so work in that realm as well, and in transmission pieces as well. So I have a very different background. I grew up on trucks, since my father has been in the industry. So I've been on a truck. I remember when I was very little being in an editing room and getting to play and make my own videos, that. But I actually went to school for education. I lived in Boston for a while, but while I was there, I ended up working for an engineering firm and doing some staffing with them and crewing. So my dad's like, well, then I was moving back to Connecticut is where I'm from. I was moving back to the Connecticut, New York area. And he's like, well, come. I have Common Logic. Come work with us. And I had the staffing background. So sure enough, that's where I landed. And one of our main clients, who, Joe, you know very well, are the Giants, along with the Jets at MetLife Stadium. So, that has been a huge piece of what I've worked on, since I've been in this industry now for over 10 years. So, yeah, that's a big piece. But then I also have branched out and done a lot of production managing as well. I mean, I've done the work as a runner, too. Like, when you're just coming in, you say yes, right? You say yes to things. So I've done a bunch of jobs as runners when I was just getting into it. And that's just a great way to experience a show, right? Like, you get right in it, and you're the first ones there, the last ones out, and you really get to see. And I learned a lot from doing that. But then I've production managed. I've done some work with Tupelo Honey Productions. I've done boxing packages with them, some basketball. I have a lot of work right now with Big Ten Network. I've done some work, so production coordinate for them, which is great. You get to work with universities, so it's like a little bit different than some other venues. But that's been a lot of fun. So those are my main.
Hearing you just covered like five. Yeah. 5 points. We could do the whole interview just in those first 5.
Yeah, I know, I did.
Because you said, say yes to anything.
Yeah.
Say yes.
Definitely.
Just say yes.
Yes.
Say yes, right?
And as a crewer, I'm always like, yeah, just say yes that you can come in and work for me that day. Like, I mean, that's how I learn about people too, right? When you're staffing and learning about people, the people that say yes, or when you get to know them, you learn what their capabilities are. So like MetLife Stadium, our control room is a perfect example. We have a variety of crew that can do quite a few different things. And for me, that I know that about them is awesome, right? So when I get stuck, I'm like, I have these people, I know they can do this, but I know that they're pretty skilled and could go, we have a VTR machine that as long as I know someone that knows some EVS, that knows how to edit, how to cut, they will be able to do that position for me, that kind of thing.
So that's what I said during the intro. It's not minimal. You have to, in your position, you have to understand, okay, what does this position do?
Yes.
And what does this person do? Now, how do you put that person with that? But before we go into this, because I have a lot of questions for you.
I talk fast and a lot, too.
Well, good. So the two of us will finish this interview in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to make very clear, because you have the same position my son has. You both came in, grandfathered in by fathers who were in the business, who carried big shadows.
Yes.
And everybody thinks, because I can speak for my son.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, well, you're Joe's son. Well, you got the gig because you're Joe. None of it was. You actually have to work harder and prove yourself more than regular people do.
I definitely always feel that. Yes, I think it helps probably to at least just get the initial conversation. But from there, I mean, I wouldn't be able, if I didn't get the work done and didn't do the job, I would be out. Like, they'd just be like, sorry, so yeah, especially on the side. It wouldn't work. But yes, I feel like I'm sure your son feels the same way. Like, I'm always trying to prove that I can do that same quality of work, right?
Right.
So we do very different things, but also I appreciate what my father has done too, right? So there's a respect level too, which I'm sure your son feels the same way. Like, you respect what your parent has done and has done in the industry. So it's so it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, no, and you both have moved out underneath the shadow, and you both shine on your own, which as the parent is like, oh, that's way cool.
Yeah.
I love when people go to me, are you related to Frank Scacciaferro? Kid's awesome. And I'm going, I'm his dad. Yeah. Oh, really? Wait a minute. How do you not know me?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's such a good feeling.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into, because you are truly in the heart of the industry. I mean, everything you do is the dead center of it, because our industry is based on people. And so I have a couple of questions that is primarily for a lot of the audience who is trying to get in, are trying to make their bones. And this is one of those industries that has no path. There's not, like, you can go get this job and then you're going to get a promotion and then you're going to get a raise and then you're going to go over. There is none of that. You're an entrepreneur from day one.
You are, yes. Yeah.
So how do you, or what do you look for when you're looking for a fresh out who comes to you and says, hey, I'm looking for work?
Yeah. I do hire a bunch of runners and utility ops. And I know that, like, for a lot of folks that have gone to school because we work with Big Ten, so I work with some of those television departments, and those students have done a multitude of things. They have had to operate a camera, or have worked with audio equipment, and I find it that everyone's excited to get right on camera, right, and get to be able to shoot, right, which is fantastic. It's awesome, and with social media now, everyone can shoot whatever they want, right, too, and post as well. But sometimes it's okay to take and be energetic to take the runner position and the learning utility prab position. You get such a feel of the show that way. But then come in and ask questions. I mean, you have to be your own advocate, and I think you have a lot of, especially in the freelance world, I think you have a lot of folks that are like, well, I make sure to say yes. Yes, you should make sure to say yes. Be honest when you have to say no. I do understand that. You can't take everything, but try to say yes. And then when you get on site, when you get the yes and you're there, like, ask the questions, figure out what things are. I love when I'm on site and I get to show a new student, like, the truck, and I'm not, on the tech side. But I can at least show you where a switcher is. I know, you know what I mean? I know the tape machine. I can show you where it is, and I can tell you what this is going to do for the show. And I love walking somebody through that. Come in and ask. Figure out, like, if you're on a large truck, like, figure out where the audio booth is. Where are the EVS running? Where's the tape room? Where are they running everything from? Just so you can just see really where it's going, So I think those are the big things. Say yes and ask questions.
Do you find that a lot of them are, well, this isn't what I want to do. This isn't it. I don't want to do this. Yeah. Do they get that part that you need to have that big vision, as you've been saying? Yeah. You need to have an oversee, because if I am working and I'm a TD and I say, do me a favor, can you run over to the audio booth and just tell him I can't hear him?
Right.
And you don't know where that is, or you don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Those are, right. So that's why I said, when you come in and ask questions, but say yes. Yes, I've had plenty of students that have done a day and then we're like, I don't think this is for me. But that's good to know too. Like, the behind the scenes is not always glamorous. The TV, it's just really not that glamorous. So come in knowing it isn't. And I have good stories too, as when you're a runner, come in and know where things are, like, ask questions, because I remember I have to deal with talent and announcers sometimes, and I remember being in a golf cart at one game, and I was a runner at this point, and I was supposed to bring the announcers from their cars to the stadium, then up to their booth, right? I somehow drove the golf cart into a tailgate and could not get us out of the tailgate. And, like, all of a sudden, everybody is like, hey! And it was just, yeah. And then I remember one time also walking an announcer in the completely wrong direction. He's just done a show, so he's tired, and he needs to get his cab to the airport because he's got a quick turnaround flight, because, of course, they book the flights, like, right after. I walked him in the completely wrong direction. So don't do those things. I apologized to both friends, and, we laughed about them after, but, ask questions so you don't get in things like that where you get stuck and you're like, ooh, I was not supposed to do that. So. But
you know what you just said? And that's, here's another good take-home point. It wasn't the end of your career.
No.
Because people think, I blew out the sound system at Carnegie Hall an hour before a show.
Ooh.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. What did you do to solve that? Like, how did you problem solve that one?
I'm heavily connected in the industry. This was when I was on the music side heavily.
Okay.
So I just knew people, because that's another part of what you need to do, is you need networking.
Yeah.
So I just started getting on the phone, and I was like, dude, I need help. Yeah. And my buddies at SIR brought a system down, and the other people everybody jumped in and helped us.
That's awesome.
And it wasn't exactly right, but the show didn't get canceled, but it
and did the audience know?
The audience never knew.
I think you find that too, is there's so many times where I feel like you're running behind you're backstage and you're running, and, like, not as simple, but like a camera, somebody gets sick, like somebody's puking in the background and they get sick, and, like, now you have a whole run, but people, so then you start figuring out, can I move somebody that I already have crew to work that camera? Can I call someone? And there goes a good example to get in, right? It's like that last minute call, like, at least if I know that you're interested in camera, I'd be like, oh my gosh, somebody just got sick. Like, can you get here in an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tell people, and since I'm 20, I've owned businesses. Yeah. And I always tell people, don't worry. The next gig is a phone call away. You don't know when it's coming.
No.
Because something's happening over here that you don't know about.
Yeah.
And if you were the person and you had the personality, which is my next question, is when you have to match people to a gig, are you thinking, they go work for Joe. Joe's a gorilla. He's going to be yelling and screaming, and they're not going to get it. Because I need to hire an Italian person to go work for Joe. Because he's used to yelling.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say across the board, though, thick skin, I don't know if that's is not the wrong way to go. But as you said, too, like, look, I have two, like, examples of, like, things that I, like, was very embarrassed about happened, that I put announcers in wrong places. I was like, whew. And, like, I have other situations where, you know, there's plenty of those situations. You can roll the next day and just be like, all right, like, what am I going to work on next time so that doesn't happen again, right? Like, just to figure that out. And then working with people, yeah, I always want someone that wants to be there. You know what I mean? That wants to come in and wants to be there. Like, it's hard to want to work when folks aren't excited to be there. There is a crazy excitement in the industry. Like, it's very cool, you know, talking about like what I do. I always find when I'm talking to someone that's not in the industry that they're, whoa, that's really interesting. Like, that's really cool. I'm like, yeah, it's not that glamorous. Like, the day to day might not be, but in overall, it's fun. There is an element of that, right? So,
and we do
yeah.
we forget. I mean,
Yes.
we forget and I'll just tell you a real quick story because it happened 2 days ago. I have new neighbors that moved in next door to us. They're from Idaho, the furthest thing from what we do.
Okay.
And I don't really talk much about what I do. So they happen to come over, and I have here comes some bragging. I have 5 Emmys that are sitting on my table, plus this guy happens to have played for Arizona State. He was a lineman. So we were talking about football, and I said, and my wife was, show him your Super Bowl rings. And I went, oh, God, please don't do this to me. He goes, you have Super Bowl rings? I'm like 5'8".
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's no way. But I worked for, they were my clients, which were, the Tisch family and the Mara family.
Yeah.
They were my clients for 27 years. And they're in an unbelievably wonderful families, both of them.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mara Wellington, I worked 3 Super Bowls for him.
Awesome.
2 of them won, and they included me in that.
That's awesome.
Which is, right now, I get goosebumps because I don't deserve that. That's not what we do. But anyway, the bottom line is...
I appreciate that, though, because it just shows, too, like, how it is such a big organization, but there are a lot of parts that really help to put the games on. And look, I mean, the players are the ones actually playing the game, completely understand, but it's nice that they acknowledge that there is a whole group of folks that come and work every game and, and help to make it a great show, make it so that fans come and watch.
Yeah, people.
Yeah.
I mean, I just took I love taking interns who are working with us, either if I'm doing a concert or I'm doing anything big.
Yeah.
Because it's so cool when I watch them walk backstage or walk out to where the truck docks are or walk out into a double wide and go, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like, these 300 people make that happen.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that all of a sudden their brain goes, wow, there's a lot of work. I could do all kinds of stuff.
You can do all kinds of, and then like understanding, like I talk about runners, I guess, a lot from it. That position is actually very important, and all the musicians that come in are so important. Like having like solid audio techs that come in that know what they're doing. You look at any control room, any behind the scenes when the trucks come in, and when we have like MetLife preseason, right? We have back-to-back games following a concert, and like you want to make sure you have people in there that know where everything's getting plugged in and not unplugging somebody else's truck. Like it's just there's a lot to go into it and how important each position really is, from
nobody unless you're in it and see it. That's why I said in the beginning, you are in the heart of it, and your personality allows you to survive. Because if you were manic, you would have burned out so fast. Yeah. And the more you get crazy, the more crazy everybody gets crazy.
Yeah. Oh no, and it does. I mean, we've all seen. A lot of, production staff, or and also like what you see sometimes, like our crews that come in will come work a show for a day or two, but sometimes, you know, the production staff that are working have worked on this show for a long time, like all the different elements building it, and they're the ones bringing in the elements, and then we're putting it, and there's hiccups, right? There's hiccups, and somebody's stressed out, and sometimes it's a people person thing. Sometimes it's like something is not uploading correctly, right? Or is not the correct file format, and you're worried about getting it out. You know, sometimes we're rehearsing, you know, the timing of everything. And yes, everyone's level of energy just gets hyped. There's a lot of people watching. If it's airing on TV or if it's airing in the stadium, like, there's a lot of people watching. So, and, you know, everybody catches everything at home, right? But, you know, I think what people at home don't always realize, or the fans, the amount of things you didn't catch that we prevented from happening, or...
Yeah,
so that you still got
another,
a great show. You were still on air, you know, so. And
you said something that's really important that people probably don't realize is when you're working in big venues and they have a concert tonight, and then that concert has to strike and get out, and then they have, you know, a game the next day, and then it has to go. We did the Garden one time, and it was jingle, and then something else, and then something else.
A circus.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
They don't have, this is middle of New York City, they don't have space where trucks can come and go. So the coordination, even the traffic coordinator, critical job, nobody knows it exists. Nobody in the industry knows it exists. They
don't pay. No, then those ramps and those tunnels, that's so tight in there coming in and out. Actually, Barkley Center is, when they built that was pretty cool because they put the trucks underground. But no, MSG, no, that's a whole, yeah, you don't think about all the people that go into scheduling, just scheduling like the days that it takes to load in and the days, you know, usually it's only a day for load out, right? But it does take time, and like you have the security personnel that have to be there to make sure that there's no audio going into the bowl or into the venue so that, you know, everyone stays safe. You know, those as well.
That, and again, I keep going back to, those are humans, those are people, yes. And you're hiring those people.
Yes.
And that's where I'm amazed at how you're able to identify who's good and then groom people coming up. Because I've watched a lot of your, you know, people that I was like, why is this guy on the field?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I would see 2 years later, he's one of the best.
Yeah.
So there's some, you're taking chances. Tell me a little bit how you evaluate or how you think that through.
You definitely take chances. I mean, we definitely read you know what I mean? We definitely read resumes to try to figure out someone's experience. And there are times where you do take chances, where you're giving somebody an opportunity. So, you know, I have like a couple examples of folks, and this is where I say like, folks came in as a utility, but I know that they had asked to be a camera operator, but they said, I'm willing to work as a utility. I want to just come in so I know the lay of the land. And more than it happens all the time that something happens and one of them gets bumped to camera. And one person, for instance, we've now had him as a camera because another camera operator moved to LA this season. One of our regular camera operators, he took a job and went out to LA. His background was, you know, so sometimes, you know, that first game, I think if I've never worked with you, I'm taking a chance, right? Like, you know, you could hopefully be recommended by somebody, or your resume reads like, oh, you've done, you know, this game, you worked at this. So, you know, your chances are, you know, pretty good, right? Pretty good that this person's going to be very comfortable. But there are other times you're just you're taking a chance, for sure. And, but that's why I say when you come in, ask questions. Like if you're coming in as a Crossfire op, you know what I mean? You might have, or a Clips op, right? You might have been able to play back videos and you have experience with that in school or various. But make sure you're asking questions as to like, where does this file go? Where am I downloading my sources from? Does the next operator that's working on this need them in a certain order? Am I like, where's my where's my format for the game? Like, am I following this step by step? Like, just make sure you come in knowing. And like, when we have camera operators and audio techs come in, we're always like, make sure you know where everything is in the building, because someone's going to yell, you need to go to this club or this stadium, check the levels. Make sure you know where that is. That's going to be my like biggest thing, is like, make sure you know where you're going, like where everything is. Like when you come in, like don't just stand around and chat. Like make sure you know where are you going, who the people are too. When you come in, know who people are. Like know when you walk in the room, like who is the director in this room? Who is the production person in this room? The producer. Like make sure you're aware, like who you're like. I mean, respect everybody in the position. Like I say, work hard, ask questions, always be kind to everyone around you as you can, but also know who your engineers are. When you have an equipment issue, like know who you can go to. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
You said resumes. Resumes to me, it's a little bit of a cheat. Even reels are a little bit of a cheat because I look at something and I'll go, but I mean, what we do is collaboration, and it takes everybody to do it. Yeah. So when somebody shows me, oh, I worked on this show, and and they're on their reel, I'm watching a reel go by, and I'm like, but what did you do specifically on that?
Yeah.
And because if you tell me you're a producer, I got to understand like what did you do?
Right.
Did you create the show? Are you sitting in the back row, on your phone while everybody else is? It's hard. It's a hard business.
That is, that's hard. And then like for like a producer, I mean, I think often, well, you kind of get a variety. I think sometimes some producers, especially in truck, like then say yes to some AD roles, say yes to sitting with the the graphics operator and being a graphics coordinator, or tape AD too. I mean, on the truck side, it's often you'll have somebody that's worked as a tape producer for a while, and then we'll eventually start getting some shows as the producer for it. But yeah, it's you're always evaluating, for sure. You're always evaluating.
How did you learn all these words?
I'm definitely one that I'll ask questions. When I don't understand something, I ask questions. I mean, certain terms like red hat. Some people call it orange sleeves. Some people call it a TOC, timeout cord. Like you ask questions. I think always be okay asking questions.
Yeah. I always say though, be careful who you ask, because sometimes you're going to get people who don't know,
and that will just answer you.
A lot of people don't understand, who don't know me, don't understand that I'm very technical. I grew up on the tech side of the world, but I'm on the creative, and I'm on I'm above the line in most of my places. So I'll hear conversations going that are just stupid, and I'm like, okay, well, you can't do that. Well, no, we have to be. I said, you can't. And I said, let me explain why. And then I'll go into the tech side of it, and they're looking at me like, how the hell do you know that? I said, but you really have to touch a lot of things to be valuable to, and you said it about 4 times during this conversation, that you want people who are diverse, that can shift from one thing to another and not be afraid, but know how to evolve into that next position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's good to have someone that's an expertise in a position. And I'm not saying that, but like most of the technical directors that we have worked their way to being a technical director, right? To being a TD. So they know the ins and outs of what gets fed into the switcher, right? So most of them will know either they've worked as an EVS op, tape AD, maybe they were a camera operator, maybe they were in that capacity, but like TD, I always think is such an interesting, but it's the same thing, like asking questions, figuring out what the positions do too, but like technical, I know they have to be so organized. They have to know where everything is going and where everything is coming from. Now, I can't program a switcher, right? So sometimes when somebody is telling me, well, I'm not going to be able to, and then you got to know who you do. You have to know who you're going to go to. Like, I'm going to go talk to the engineers. Like, if production is coming with a request, I think I always find if production's coming with a request, it's our job to try to figure out if we can do it. And if we can't do it exactly how they want, let's figure out what we can do if we can understand the idea of what they're looking for. I mean, that could be as simple as, like, I know you build sets in random places too, right? Like figuring where a set goes. I mean, we had a set one time underneath an oak tree, and all of a sudden acorns are falling on that. Like, it was just, I mean, it was a beautiful idea for where they wanted it, but this was not going to work. Like, right? And I mean, you know, it's just like thinking that through. You put sets in random places, and you're just like, let's just make sure we're thinking about everything. Like, how are we getting the power? How are we getting, you know? So, I mean, when I set up shows, when I do a lot of the ops managing piece, when I need a break from all the crewing, you know, a lot of times it's like figuring out power needs, figuring out, you know, camera positions. So if we need platforms, if we need scaffolding, you know, lifts, is it safe to put somebody there on a camera? And then booths, is there connectivity? Are we in a location that has connectivity for a booth to call a show? You know, is there room for everybody?
You learned this growing up through the industry. You learned this.
No.
But no?
No, I mean, not when I was younger. I didn't know any of this. I mean, I learned it once I got in the industry, I guess, you know, slowly, you know, the past a little over a decade. You know, that's how I've learned, by being on site, you know,
that's what I was getting at. You have to get your hands dirty.
Oh yeah.
You have to be there. And you've said this no less than 100 times. Ask a question. You have to ask, well, why are we doing, even if it's not your responsibility.
Oh.
Why are you dragging that from that?
I mean, you'll know this too. I remember being on the boxing package, and boxing is a different. I've been around football a lot, as you know. But boxing, I did a whole package on boxing where, yeah, I was traveling 3 weeks out of a month. But we would get there, and the folks that are setting up the boxing show should be the ones worrying about, you know, black curtains around the ring, but we're there producing the show, so we're concerned about it, and we have no, you know, so now I'm going to find somebody in catering to be like, hey, we need this all, you know, we need the whole ring, you know. So you just learn things, and then everybody has a different, you talk about words, everyone has a different name for all that thing, step and repeats, you know. So you try to like tell somebody like what I'm looking for and make sure that they come back with somebody.
Yeah, and when you jump, I mean, I jump from theater to music to broadcast, and it's the same thing. When it's, you know, I'm talking to a lighting director, and I'm like, it's the same thing. I just don't know what your word is.
Yeah. Tell me what you want to call it.
this thing here, exactly. It goes like this.
Right.
And when you.
Oh, that's true.
That part of that's awesome. Hey, you said you're working Big Ten now.
Yes.
That's an addition to what you've been doing. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been with them since 2014, actually. So I've done it's cool. It's you know, they're owned by Fox. They are it's this college sports season, which is great because I've learned a lot of other sports. I have a football background, so coming in to do college football, it's a little bit different than NFL with rules and but I know a football game, you know, I know where the cameras go for football. It's very interesting when I started learning field hockey, swimming, basketball. I knew basketball too, so you know where the cameras are for that, but like gymnastics, you know, I didn't know, so I've had to learn too, you know, but I think that's the thing, you get in the trenches and you just kind of like you figure out, all right, and you talk to people. Like I remember my first gymnastics show going to the director. And so for Big Ten, I guess I should just start with, I do a few different things for them. I do some crewing and staffing with them because that is what we do and what we need. Usually you find you need help getting those positions. But then I also help set up the shows. And how Big Ten works is we, the folks in my position, we each have a different university, and we manage anytime Big Ten is on site for that university. But yeah, I remember going into gymnastics. I mean, like, I've watched gymnastics on TV, but I don't have any background. So I was like, where did the cameras go? Like, but instead of just like guessing, you reach out to the director, you make a call to the director, the producer who have done gymnastics before and be like, so walk me through this. Like, where do we put cameras? Like, what do you need? And realizing you need 3 handheld camera operators, not 5 hard cam. So walking that through. The audio is tricky, so realizing you need to come in a whole day before to really set those mics. But then you also need to go back to the school and talk to the school because, hey, when's the floor coming in? When are the apparatuses coming in? Like, when can we get in? So that's a lot of the nitty gritty that I do is I work with the schools, coordinate when we can come in, making sure we have power, make sure we have enough cables for power. And with the Big Ten, like you've seen probably on a lot of groups, like ESPN has their Remy's. There's a lot of them. They have micro trucks. They're multi-insertion trucks, and we have pretty small for a lot of the shows. We have, especially non-football, we have a lot of small trucks that come in. They look like giant bread vans, I always like to say, but they are so impressive what they can do. And then we feed everything back to Chicago. In Chicago, we have 4 studios, and the studios that have the switcher, the graphics in there, the bug op, and so we send all of them. That's how they go. And sometimes we have announcers on site, and sometimes we don't. We actually have ways to do both. So
yeah, the industry made 2020 forced all of us where we were going to that shift was going to happen in about 10 years, and it happened in 12 months. Is that everybody had to figure out everything and learn a whole myself included, learning all kinds of new tech and tricks and how do we get around this and how do we get around that. And now we've it's a hybridish kind of incorporated. NFL Network started it when they put everything in one place and then fed everything to their studios.
Yeah, and Big Ten has been able to do that same thing because it is, we work with Big Ten themselves, right? So the network has been able to do that as well. So, all the schools have connectivity back to Chicago, to the offices. So it works.
It's so cool, though.
It is.
That's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, the transmission. I think I was interested in transmission for a while, too. Just, how we get everything to everybody. I always found that piece really interesting. And, like, for the Giants, for preseason, for example, we have so many affiliates because when they're not national broadcasts, right, then all the local stations get to take the games, right? But we have to then worry about making sure we get it to everybody. Actually, for a while, we were getting the Giants games. There was a couple of years we got them out to Hawaii even. We had a cohort in Honolulu, I think, that liked the game. So that was cool, too. So, but it's just interesting how you have to work on that, too. So, and
you mentioned students.
Yes.
Yet you're using students in a lot of that.
We do. We hire for Big Ten, we hire students to come work. So it gives you a good opportunity to shadow like a utility operator, learn how to cable, you can, and those guys, they have downtime. You have downtime when you're on site. Like that's we always joke that the hurry up and wait, right? Hurry, and then you do have downtime. So usually when you come in for a call time, you got crazy stuff to do, but then you usually have some time to chill. And those are great times to, if you're interested in something, go ask questions, hang out. Make sure you're always available for what your job and your role is. Make sure, like if you're working as a runner that day, make sure your production manager knows where you are at all times. But if you have some downtime, feel free to go check out what the TD is doing. Those are, I think that's what I always think is good too. But yes, we had those roles. Also, a lot of the students, a lot of the communication students actually come in and help us out and work on the stats side. Work as talent stats ops and official stats ops. Some of them help do our 1st and 10 lines, making sure that the truck knows what the call is on the field, right? So that's
awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You're amazing. I'm sitting here going, wow, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you did that. You're like, I could hire you.
Thanks. Thanks. I'd pass the test. Yeah, we do. I'm very grateful. I've been able to do kind of a lot of different things. I think there was a time that I wanted to do more of the operating, actually. But, you also should always take a look at yourself and what you're good at. And I might not actually be good in the high pressure. Like, I give everybody credit in the middle of a show, the high pressure. Because one of the things that I find is, like, once everybody starts going, like once the show starts going, I get to take a deep breath. Right?
Right.
That we're on air, we're going. The show is on air. So I get to sometimes that's my biggest time to like take a breath and like, okay. We're good. We're on air. We made air.
That's funny because I'm just the opposite.
Yes.
I'm like, once we go and we're live, I love that intensity because my brain has to fire so fast. And when stuff's wrong or something's not doing what it's supposed to, and I'm looking at the sheet going, nope, we got to move that to that, move that to this, and I take no prisoners.
Yeah.
It's just go.
But it's good, and people thrive in that. And if you know that, that's awesome. Like, most people do really well in that. I realize I don't thrive in that. So actually, the behind the scenes, the setup, making sure we're where we need, I'm good. And by the, when we get towards the end of the show, then my job comes back on to make sure everybody knows where we're going at the end, And I give you guys, all the producers, all you guys can all take control during the show. Go ahead. Just you do your thing. I'll step back. So.
Yeah, it's like you said, it takes all the temperaments, it takes all that, and everybody has to know their role. Yeah. Live shows, I've maybe seen 3 concerts that I didn't work in my life. And that's primarily because when I'm sitting in a chair and I'm looking at the stage, I can see when the guitar player's looking offset and he's calling for his in-ears are wrong or something's
you do
happening.
notice, like anytime.
And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, somebody do something. And I'm like this in my chair. Somebody do something. Somebody do something.
I know. It's so funny the things you notice. I took I have 2 kids. I have a 4 and 5-year-old, and we took them to their first like minor league baseball game the other weekend, and it was fun to see like the minor league. But you just notice everything. You're looking for where everybody is, who's feeding what board. You just like you see it all. It's really fun.
We've taken the magic out of it.
It's true.
My poor wife's not in this industry.
Okay, no.
No matter what we do, I'm like, oh, did you see that? Like, I can't watch a television show, and I'll critique the lighting or I'll critique this.
Yeah.
And why did they cut to that? They shouldn't have cut to that. That's a weird edit.
Yeah.
Can you just shut up and watch the show?
That is really funny. See, my husband's in it, so like. It works. I think we always appreciated each other's, but he's creative, so he's more on your side. Like he's the creative side, so it's a good balance.
All right, now the next time we're going to get him on.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so I'm completely ran out of time.
No, sorry.
I didn't even bother. I just was like, I don't care. This is great. I'm going to keep this. No, the conversation is invaluable, and I appreciate it.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, and that's what. I mean, obviously, that's what Feral City is all about.
That's awesome. It's really cool.
I just want to keep bringing people in.
It's so great. You're right. I definitely didn't know what I was getting into exactly, even though I have a dad who knows the industry, right? And you don't realize exactly what's out there. There's a whole multitude of pieces that go into everything. So. Yep.
I've worked with a couple of colleges now, big names, which I won't drop. And one of the things I was amazed at when I first got my group of students and we were about to produce was, tell me what you want to do in the industry. Like, where's your passion? I would say almost all of them, and I did this for 3 years. Almost every group was director, actor, screenplay writer. That's what they think the industry is.
Yeah.
There's 3 classifications. And I said, yeah, but I like to be in the creative. I like to have control. Yeah. Well, none of those have control. No. Nobody has control.
No, you're working together. Like you're always, but right. I mean, I have a good friend from growing up who I would never know that this industry was there. She's a sound supervisor out in LA. I didn't even know, like, I don't think she knew that it was like necessarily. And she has just like, she's in a whole niche and she's done very well. And, it's just cool to realize that there are
so much. And I'm going to give you the last one.
Yeah,
I know I'm supposed to stop, and I'm not.
Sorry.
I just did an interview. He's now a film director. He started out as a dancer, became a choreographer, blah, 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 blah.
Cool.
But in the middle of his career, he has a credit that I've never heard of. He is a movement director.
Oh, yes, you were saying that. Yes. Okay.
It's like, what is a movement director? Because he worked on a vampire movie. Yeah. And he had to teach vampires how to move.
Yeah.
I was like, and he has a credit. He has a film credit that says movement.
Yeah,
It's just
I would say, like, be wary of titles sometimes because you don't always know. Like, I guess also just don't worry about that. In our industry, I feel like you don't have to worry about them that much, or I don't worry personally.
Yeah, I
come in, I do my job, right? Make sure that we're, getting everything done and where you need to be. And
I'm more concerned that the people around me appreciate my contribution, and I appreciate theirs, and that's all I care about. I don't.
And sometimes,
titles, awards, I hate them all.
Yeah, and sometimes if nothing is said, you're good. Like. There's a lot of shows where we'll be done and nobody said anything, so we're good. Like everything was fine, right? So,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Oh my God, I could have this conversation forever.
Sorry,
Heather,
I talk a lot.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Say hi to everyone for me, and maybe we'll run into each other down at once NFL starts.
I know it's July, but yes, we always have to we'll get right back into that. So thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate you having me.